let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right, so this is not so much for like a deep dive into your build, because obviously if somebody wanted to watch your series,
sure,
and they can enjoy your 2 years of content on this and they can know about every single part, this is more just kind of like a life update. The fact that you're here, the fact that we're both here in Australia at Sydney Motorsport Park.
It's pretty cool.
And this thing, the last time I saw this was on the show floor at SEMA, and now it's here, you're actually driving it. You actually are doing what you said you would do, which is drive it.
Trying to. That's why I built the car. It's, the whole idea was take a car that I think is beautiful and then make it drive as good as it looks, and in order to do that, you gotta drive it. And so it's pretty wild. It hasn't fully set in that I'm here to do that, 8,000 miles from home. But when Ian called up and said, hey, do you want to come? Do you want to do this? There was no question, no hesitation. And so it's just a matter of, I got to get the car done. And I think that was like the perfect kind of push to get the car to the finish line, right? To get it fully complete, really push me to get it this kind of, I don't want to call it done because there's always stuff to do, but to get it to this level so we could be here and turn laps.
Your goal at SEMA was to drive it into the show, not a pusher, not a Bluetooth drive shaft, Bluetooth intercooler hose or anything. It was a fully running driving car, but from that point to this point, there was so much that needed to be done.
It's almost, I don't want to call it a different car from what it was at SEMA, but there was a lot of work. There's a huge separation between a car that can drive somewhere under its own power and then a car that can be out here and turn laps. And so I think even I underestimated what level of work it would be to get to this point. It was a lot of hours, a lot of nights, a lot of sweat and blood and tears and stuff. But yeah, it still hasn't even set in that it's happening, but here we are.
So then, with that said, I absolutely love the livery so much. It is really fitting to the car, the era, but also to you. I think it just suits like the level of build that you're known for.
I appreciate it. No, so the idea for the livery was do something that we haven't seen before, and so my buddy Blake kind of sat down with me, and over the course of a few weeks, we finally landed on this. I think the simplest way to summarize it is a futuristic livery from the time when the car was new. We pulled inspiration from all of those kind of sci-fi movies and aesthetics. If you look around, for example, the spaceship in Alien, this is what all of the kind of icons and the design language is. And so it's like, okay, well, if they thought about a car running, what would a race car in 2023 look like if you were back in 1980? It's probably like this. And so that was kind of that, a little bit of a futuristic flair, but still somehow works with it being an old car. And I like to think we got it right.
It looks great. So then, with that said, how much have you actually had a chance to drive this vehicle?
Not enough. So before the car got put into a container, I got to drive the car twice outside of, like driving it around the shop. But took it out to Buttonwillow, and we got a full half day in before we lost one of our coupler clamps for our charge piping. I think I didn't get one of the pins in all of the way for the Vibrant HD clamps, but thankfully we upgraded to the new design, so that's not a worry anymore. But it was still a successful first session out. It was right as I was wanting to lean on the car, sort of feeling comfortable with it, that we had the failure. But then only a handful of days later, we went out to Horse Thief Mile. Thankfully, we could get access to that, and totally different animal, really small track, no high speed, but still an opportunity to shake it down and learn things such as, do we have our brake bias right? Do we have the alignment set correctly? Things like that, and they gave us the confidence, yeah, we've got this far enough along to send it to the other side of the world.
Well, Horse Thief is such a different animal as a track. It's more like a mountain course versus this. This is, I haven't driven this, but I'm assuming it's a lot more higher speed and flowy.
It is a totally different animal. I mean, Horse Thief Mile it's tough to even call it a track, right? I mean, it suffices for what we needed it to do, but it wasn't really a track experience. This track, I spent a lot of time on the simulator before coming out trying to learn it and understand it, and I'm impressed with how accurate that was, how much translated to actually turning laps. The track's amazing.
Wait, so then on the simulator, what do you drive to mimic something like this?
So I didn't go that far. I drove cars that I knew were set up well, that were a good representation with good physics and whatnot, well-developed cars, so that I could rely on it to perform the way that it should mentally, not necessarily like this car, but just so that I could know how to drive a car on the course.
So how many sessions have you driven so far already?
We had the first session out, and that was successful. Second session out, on my out lap, we hit a lean condition, went into limp mode and came in and didn't get it solved in time to go back out. So here in just a minute, we're gonna be on the real second session, if you will.
I mean, what does it feel like? You haven't really had that much time on this track, but expectation-wise, so far.
I mean, it feels amazing. The car is wildly fast. Power to weight ratio is fantastic. It's cool to finally get to feel the aero work here. I didn't get to feel that at home. Coming out of the last turn and barreling down the straight, just standing on it for just all the way through all the gears is a wild sensation.
Is that the fastest you've gone in it at all?
In this? Oh yeah, definitely.
So then, what mile an hour did you hit?
I couldn't tell. I don't have a speedo set up. So I'm just winging it. I'm going by RPM. I think gearing-wise, it goes to around 170,
So then in this configuration, how much power is the K-Series making?
So we're running on low boost today. Low boost is 12, 13 PSI. It might hit 14, and it was making 640 at the wheels.
640. So did you have a chance to dyno it here?
Yeah, so we spent the day at Haltech. They lent us their facility to go over the car, give it the whole once-over everything, and then Scott put it on the dyno and kind of gave it his digital once-over, made sure that our swap over to 109 fuel instead of the 110 leaded we run back in California, made sure it was happy, and seems good.
You didn't even have this as a goal when you were building this at all.
No, I wanted to go out and compete against myself. I wanted to just drive the car and learn, obviously, how to be a better driver, but how to build a better car, how to take everything that I'll learn when I go out and drive it and then go back to the shop and do what I love to do most, which is just fabricating and building and making cool stuff. And how can I make the car better? What did I learn? How can I take that and translate it into mechanically changing the car and making it better? The fact that I'm here is unreal, and there's definitely a bit of imposter syndrome with it too. I mean, I'm walking through the pit and seeing all these cars and all these drivers of this crazy caliber, and it doesn't feel like I should be here, but...
Well, I'll tell you what, you just blew Keiichi Tsuchiya's mind. Is that a boyhood dream, kind of like pinch me, I must be dreaming moment for you?
I don't even have words for it. If you had told me I'd have that interaction as a kid, it wouldn't have computed. That doesn't seem like it would be a thing that I would get the opportunity to do.
I'm getting the chills for you. When I'm actually watching it happen, I literally watched his face change when he first saw the engine, and I was so excited for you. I saw you were in another conversation, and I looked over and I was like, oh man, this is happening. How cool is that? I
was having one conversation and trying to side eye the whole time, watching him look at the car thinking no, I'm missing this right now. And thankfully I got to talk to him for a few before he took off. But yeah, I don't even have words,
Yeah, so then you didn't even have a chance to really drive this on track as a stock vehicle.
No, I didn't. I put 27, if I remember right, 27 miles on it before I tore it apart.
Does this drive like anything you've ever driven before?
No, I've never driven anything like this car, and that's not to say that the driving experience it offers is anything like spectacularly unique. It's just a reflection of my own experience or lack thereof, but it's wild to me. I mean, I'm pleased with how firmly it feels planted, how it drives, knowing that it's I designed that suspension. It's not a bolt-on project. So to kind of feel like my engineering choices are panning out and working is hugely rewarding.
Last question,
all right.
And this is gonna be a hard one. What's your goal time-wise here?
Time-wise, for lap times? I haven't even really, so for starters, I haven't even made a true flying lap yet. So I don't even have a baseline. I think a goal would be to improve considerably over the course of the weekend. I don't even know I know what some of these guys are running in terms of their lap times and what some of the class records are and stuff. I have no even hopes that the car will be competitive in the open class. It's not built to maximize that rule set, it's just where it lands. For me, it's not, the goal wasn't to come out here and win anything. I'm competing against myself and the ability to learn and improve the car.
Yeah, it's more of a demonstration, and it's just cool
in
for
a way,
people to see. I'm sure so many Australian fans are going to be stoked to see it run in real life for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a ton of people say they're coming out just to see the car and see it run, and so hopefully I don't let any of them down. You know, when they come to see the car, I want to throw down some heaters. I want to go fast. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to go slow. How fast that'll be remains to be seen.
Cool. Well, if you haven't seen the whole series, just download the whole series and just watch it.
There's a lot of content to watch if you're into that kind of thing, that's for sure.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to support us directly, go to larrychenprints.com. I print and sign every single one of these. This is the perfect gift, or it's the perfect piece of art for your wall.